Patriots pulling up, ain't gonna stop. Hide if you want, cause it's ready or not. We the whole gang and we up on your block. Got the red dot on you, now take the shot. 2-8 don't face me, now I got my slide. We hunting down snakes, we aim for the hide. Try to jam me, I don't care what you say, cause the people are here and we win either way. Hey yo, shout out to the truckers who be honking on the road, blocking off the bridge even when the weather's cold. Missing out on money, but to them it do not matter. Fighting for their freedom is the reason that they gather. All over the world, anywhere that you can fathom. Ottawa to Paris, no they are not terrorists. Canberra to Vienna, run up a comparison. Trudeau can't stand them, then he try to ban them. Call up an emergency and do it with some urgency, and call up the city police to take away the liberties. But our numbers going strong, you know we never stand alone. We taking back a rest, you better take the story on your phone. Then we go to States, put the stick up on my plane. Ain't gonna show a back sport, you don't wanna ask for it. Then I'll call the truckers and we call it a 10-wheeler force. Block it now and no remorse. Australia to hit the source, they calling for the power so that they can come to take your body, your life, to end your mortal strife. Take away the guns, then take away the funds. Hacking at the fundraisers so we know the hell awaits. And really think they're gonna stop it, but they'll never make a profit. No more water in the faucet, cause the workers don't deposit. For the timers doing violence, rebels got it moving silence till it's time to make it loud. On the streets and in the cloud, get banned, stand up, you know we gotta man up. I ain't gonna little timer try to lock us up. Say we gotta wear a mask while they party in the club. Vax that thing up, or I cannot buy us up. Think the politicians for getting new pay, they pay stub. It's only been a couple years, you know that we are fed up. Truck Trudeau and the same go for Joe. And if you try to lock me down again, then I'ma let it blow. If you try to push the vaccine, I'ma say no. If you think that you're safe, we better run up in your place. We done with the games, we done with the snakes. You better be scared, we'll do what it takes. Patriots pulling up, ain't gonna stop. Hide if you want, cause it's ready or not. We the whole gang and we up on your block. Got the red dot on you, now take the shot.
I won't take the vax, no. Fauci is a backhole. Why you even rap, bro? If you ain't spitting facts, though. Fire like Tabasco. Sauce check the swag, bro. Then trust anyone on news and a lab coat bars. Why they always grifting for the black votes? TikTok pop star, swear it's all an act, bro. Now they want the truckers in the prison cause they mad, so I'ma make a song that made their next turn. Lassos. Call me rap cowboy. Even as a little DC, I was a loud boy. Spitting racist jokes in the class like a proud boy. Okay, who you kidding? I'm a Gavin this McGinnis when I'm rapping like a tabloid. 9/11 inside job. Michelle's got a real big schlong. Probably like 10-inch long. They probably wanna end this song, but we ain't gonna end this song. No, McDonald's fries kill more people than Corona did. Masked up class suffocating all the COVID kids. Let me take a breath. They're praying on the death. I blame it on the left. Thinking who you rep. Jesus Christ is the set. I can see that they upset. Gays go to hell. Why? Cause they have anal sex, that's why. Faggot.
Patriots pulling up, ain't gonna stop. Hide if you want, cause it's ready or not. We the whole gang and we up on your block. Got the red dot on you, now take the shot. Stay awake, not woke, I'm tuned in. Your point of view too far, need to zoom in. Ain't got no facts, you assuming. About to call on blue, the way you be cluing. Stay awake, not woke, I'm tuned in. Your point of view too far, need to zoom in. Ain't got no facts, you assuming. About to call on blue, the way you be cluing. Have we had enough of your lies for one night? Have we felt enough of our pain to know it's real? How do you feel? Sick and tired of the lies, all I'm feeling is the pain. It's the devil in disguise while I'm standing in the rain. Water pouring from the sky, but you tell me the opposite. Like I don't have a consciousness, like I'm stuck in the matrix and my brain's up for the taking. But we don't do that, I know my facts. They say that he was elected, but where the stats at? They say that jab the only way to get your life back. But if you have a heart attack, then they will go to hide that. Look at the FDA, acting like KKK, trying to run all our lives like we they brand new slaves. Lose the job, bent from plain segregation, all the same. They call themselves progressives, but they taking us all back again. Bring the world to darkness and sacrifice the children then. When it's said and done, then you will never live with hope again. I say that we break the chains, we can't leave the world the same. Make love real again. As we fly above the truth, I ask of God, am I with you? I walk the path, go to the line, but still I feel that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages from all across the world. You are now tuned in with me. My name is Chandler Crump, and this is a live show we do every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8. Crump Live. Can we get a round of applause in the audience? We have a live studio audience that is, of course, graced by our amazing soundboard here.
Got him.
You were not going to want to miss out on it. Thank you guys so much for being tuned in with us once again here over on YouTube, Rumble, Gitter, Facebook, wherever you're watching me from. I'm proud to be streaming live for you right now. Shout out to our folks over on Gitter and here on Rumble as well. What's going on, Mad Lad, Dare Dad in the chat? He says, good morning from Australia. Everyone, hope you are all well. That's right. Dare Dad is our resident Australian, although we actually have a brand new resident Australian. I don't know if you know him, Dare Dad. I'm not saying all Australians know each other, but we have another I guess I was gonna say gentleman, but I shouldn't really be assuming genders because sometimes I could be wrong. But we have another Australian person around here who's given us some details about Australia. So Dare Dad, you got to step it up if you want to, be competitive for the Australian correspondent role here on Crump Live and the Chandler Brief. But either way, we've got a ton of news we're going to be jumping into. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter show, but we're going to be directly hitting two major issues. And today it is all about the children. It is all about the next generation. A lot of the content I create, the things I do, is for Generation Z, but Generation Z is actually already all alive. Generation Z cutoff happened maybe around 2010, 2012. What I'm talking about right now is the generation after Generation Z, which is, Generation Alpha. There's a few different names since they're running out of letters in the first alphabet, so then they have to move to a different one, like Alpha and Beta, I think that's the next letter. I don't know. They're going to go through a lot of generations. I'd feel really bad if I was born into Generation Beta. But anyways, this generation is the generation of kids that are less than 10 years old and are still, in some definitions, being born today. Or, in some ways, not being born today. Because a lot of children in 2022, 2021, in this modern era, are unfortunately and very sadly being aborted. Now, you guys know that in recent times, there have been some major headway made against abortion, with Roe v. Wade potentially being overturned, as the leaked memo states. Various governors of states like Oklahoma, which is why I tripped over the word, are starting to make a little bit of headway as far as fully banning abortion within their states. Now, whether you guys agree with this or disagree with this, you think the government has no right, is inconsequential to the fact that this is actually happening. Oklahoma governor signs the nation's strictest abortion ban, and that is to go into effect the moment that Roe v. Wade topples, if it does. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt on Wednesday signed into law the nation's strictest abortion ban, making the state the first in the nation to effectively end availability of the procedure. State lawmakers approved of the ban enforced by civil lawsuits rather than criminal prosecution, similar to a Texas law that was passed last year. The law takes effect immediately upon Stitt's signature and prohibits all abortions with a few exceptions. Abortion providers have said they will stop performing the procedure as soon as the bill is signed. Now, once again, ideological differences may apply, but I think everybody agrees less babies being aborted is a good thing. Even the people that say a fetus in the womb is a clump of cells that's not alive can at least agree that if that clump of cells does eventually get born, that is a benefit to society, right? At least I hope the majority of them see it that way, although I can't vouch for the validity of such hopes. But anyways, I promised Oklahomans that as governor, I would sign every piece of pro-life legislation that came across my desk, and I am proud to keep that promise today.
Got him.
The first-term Republican said in a statement. From the moment life begins at conception is when we have a responsibility as human beings to do everything we can to protect that baby's life and the life of the mother. That is what I believe, and that is what the majority of Oklahomans believe. Oklahomans? Oklahomans? Is that the demonym for people from Oklahoma? I always thought it was Oklahomans. That's interesting. I guess Oklahomans. Oh, because Oklahomans. Okay, whatever. Believe. Abortion providers across the country have been bracing for the possibility that the U.S. Supreme Court's new conservative majority might further restrict the practice, and has especially been the case in Oklahoma and Texas. The impact will be disastrous for Oklahomans, said Elizabeth Nash, who is a state policy analyst for the abortion rights supporting Guttmacher Institute. It will also have severe ripple effects, especially for Texas patients who had been traveling to Oklahoma in large numbers after the Texas 6-week abortion ban went into effect in September. The bills are part of an aggressive push in Republican-led states to scale back abortion rights. It comes on the heels of a leaked draft opinion from the nation's high court that suggests justices are considering weakening or overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion. The only exceptions in Oklahoma law are to save the life of a pregnant woman or if the pregnancy is the result of rape or incest that has been reported to law enforcement. The bill specifically authorizes doctors to remove a dead unborn child caused by spontaneous abortion or miscarriages.
or to remove an ectopic pregnancy, a potentially life-threatening emergency that occurs when a fertilized egg implants outside the uterus, often in a fallopian tube, and early in pregnancy, which is basically every single stipulation that the liberals have been making, saying, oh, Republicans want to force a baby into the mother if she's been assaulted, which I don't think anybody really is saying, oh yeah, the rapist's baby should survive. But we are saying that is an opportunity for you to create something great out of something terrible. We talked about Senate candidate from Pennsylvania, Kathy Barnett, who is in fact the product of an unfortunate assault like that. But the mother, Kathy Barnett's mother, took that opportunity, gave birth to Kathy, and gave her a loving home, gave her a life that she has made something amazing out of. She gave her that life, and Kathy Barnett did her own things with it, but she's done amazingly well. That's what mothers can do. Or something very similar in incest, which is, a similar yet different thing. Of course, you have that right, because Oklahoma is at least, to that point, and I can't even say I agree with that, but I at least understand where people are coming from regarding it. So it's a good thing. So it really dismantles the entire argument that Democrats and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have been making, saying we're going to force women's bodies. It's not a great argument. It's not really getting them anywhere, and this is being dismantled right below them. The law also does not apply to the use of morning after pills such as Plan B or any other type of contraception, which is yet another fake story that they kept pushing out there, saying, oh, they won't let you take any pills, which is just, it's stupid. It really is stupid. So this is some really great moves coming to protect the next generation, which is why I wanted to start with this. But now we're going to accelerate the timeline a little bit, move a little bit further past, before the baby is born, when the baby is actually no longer quite a baby, but a young kid. Now, as you guys know, there have been some crazy things happening recently as far as school shootings, and it's been very unfortunate that they've attacked elementary schools, which is a most despicable practice. It's terrible. It truly is terrible. But they're utilizing this. Sorry, I thought I heard lightning for a second. They're utilizing this to push against rights. Gun rights, for example, which is what White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre is currently doing. She says, America has more guns than people in this country. If more guns were indeed the solution, we will be the safest country in the world, but we are not. Let's give this a watch.
Are you getting any sense that this time it's different, that there's a different climate on Capitol Hill that might be inclined to do some things?
So I'll say this, Steve. We have seen 2 horrific tragedies in just 2 weeks. Hours before the shooting, many of the 19 kids who were killed in Texas, Uvalde, were being awarded certificates of the Robb Elementary's honor roll ceremony as part of the end of the school year. Today would have been their last day at school, and for the school year. In Buffalo, on the same day that this happened just 2 days ago, 2 of the 10 people who were killed while going to the grocery store on a Sunday, like many of us do, were being buried and honored by their families. I'm talking about Aaron Salter, the security officer who first responded, and Celestine Cheney, a mother and grandmother of 6, were being buried by loved ones right in Buffalo on that same day. So America has more guns than people in this country. If more guns were indeed the solution, we would be the safest country in the world.
Terrible argument.
But we are not. And so the president has been very clear. He wants action. He wants Congress to take action. He wants to turn this pain into action. And I hope the Senate, and particularly those who have been unwilling to act in the face of previous tragedies, will act now. And
this is so infuriating. It's really an affront to all of us. She thinks we're all stupid. Now, first things first, I want to dismantle her very first argument about saying we have the most guns in the world, we have more guns than people, we should be the safest country in the world, which is a terrible argument because you can flip it right on its head and it's not applicable the other way around either. We have the most guns per capita of any country in the world. But we are not the most dangerous country in the world. We don't have people running in the streets shooting each other like wild. But you might say, well, Chandler, we are number 3 in homicides in the world, right? And I'm like, yes. Do you want to know where those homicides take place? Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, Detroit, Michigan. All cities that have done major damage to the Second Amendment and have effectively turned themselves into major gun-free zones. Now, it's still a slight possibility that you can get your hands on a gun legally, but you have to go through so many hoops, you have to have so many restrictions, it's almost impossible and not worth the time and energy. Unless you really care about it, which I'd argue people should. But it is in those 3 cities, of which comprise a group of 5 cities, that if you removed them from our country, you just drew a big border around them, they aren't America anymore, they're the Badlands. Suddenly America would drop from number 3 to something like 168th for homicides in the world? Because outside of those 5 major cities and outside of those 3 that I mentioned specifically, we don't kill each other all that often, especially not with guns. There's, other means, and if you factored in abortions, well, I'm sure that would shoot America right back up to the top. But without either of those means to be counted against us, we are a very safe place. And do you want to know why we are a safe place? Because people carry guns. Heroes carry guns. Every time one of these mass shootings happens, we have heroes who are willing to jump into the field of fire and do something about it. Heroes that sometimes aren't even law enforcement, but are simply people who want to defend themselves or who want to be a defender of others. They want to be a fighter. This is the most beautiful sentiment that we have in America. And it is a culture that is cultivated through the Constitution, and it is a culture that is cultivated through the fellow love of thy neighbor, which has been ushered throughout this nation as a founding principle. It's a founding principle that we have. Rebecca says, U.S. is number 11 in mass shootings among first world countries, behind Norway, France, Belgium, Switzerland, and Finland. I'm gonna have to check that one, but that would be really crazy if it was. And it's probably in comparison to the number of population we have. So America may have more mass shootings in those countries, but comparing the numbers, like the actual percentages, if you guys can kind of get the math there, America might be further behind. But once again, I'll have to check the facts on that one. But when I'm talking about heroes, I'm talking about fathers, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, and mothers. This story I'm going to read for you guys here is a direct tale of what is happening. Before we do that, I want to give a shout out to Boxed7 over on Rumble. She says, "Hey guys, sorry I wasn't here on Tuesday. I got off work late." You're all good, Box. Don't worry too hard about it. You can always watch the rerun. I really appreciate you being over on Rumble. I really appreciate that. Also, shout out to Rebecca Kaplan for holding it down here on YouTube. But yeah, mother trying to save child at the school was handcuffed by federal marshals. Can you believe it? Let's check this out. After it was revealed on Thursday that not only did police delay their response to sending tactical teams into the elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, amid a school shooting that left 19 children and 2 teachers dead, but prevented parents from entering. The Wall Street Journal reported that one mother sprinted into the school to get her children over objections from law enforcement. Angeli Rose Gomez drove 40 miles to the school upon hearing of the shooting, and she arrived. She said the police were doing nothing. They were just standing outside the fence. They weren't going in there or running anywhere. While state officials said that police were at the school mere moments after the teen gunman entered the school, barricading himself in a classroom and opening fire on young students, they also said that officers were unable to gain access to the classroom. Gomez said that she was only one of several parents at the school demanding that officers stop waiting around and go into the school. It was then that federal marshals approached her and put her in handcuffs. The marshals told her she was being arrested for intervening in an active investigation. Gomez was able to convince local law enforcement to free her, but she also saw a father pepper sprayed and another tackled and thrown to the ground by law enforcement as he tried to go into the school. His 10-year-old daughter was massacred in the slaughter. Once freed, Gomez moved away from the crowd, broke into a run, jumped the fence, and ran inside to rescue her children. She sprinted out of the school with them. The shooter had 40 minutes to an hour before law enforcement went in to neutralize him. He was eventually shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent who also sustained injuries. Reports on social media showed footage of other parents trying to urge law enforcement to act and to try to get into the school themselves. Police kept parents out. Here's some of the video of those parents protesting these police officers that, unfortunately, were doing nothing.
We're taking care of oh shit, he ain't dead yet. Is he dead? He's not good. Y'all should have fucking changed that motherfucker like that. What the fuck you doing to him?
And so there's the father that... I hate this part of the story so much. Because I feel like I can sympathize with it. So there's what I can only presume to be the father that was pepper sprayed and arrested by police officers on scene for impeding an active investigation. At the same time, he was losing his daughter. At the same time. And he's the one being arrested. Meanwhile, that sicko in the building gets the benefit of police officers not being willing to move in there and do something about it. or I shouldn't say willing, but not receiving the order to get in there. Although at some point you gotta say, forget the order, forget whatever these people want me to do. I made an oath, and I'm going to uphold my oath. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to save lives, like that Border Patrol agent ended up doing as part of that elite squadron. He ran in there without backup and got the job done. But no, this is how they treat the citizen, the father that lost everything. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I want to let you guys hear what they were saying to them. Those parents want to get in there in the school. I want to show you this one as well, with the parents actually, you know, stating their grievances.
Are your kids in there? Are your kids in there? No. That's like no. They won't turn around though. You don't want to turn around. Look at that poor kid. Look at that poor little kid, that poor baby. You don't understand. Are you Chandler? I would have gone in with Chandler. You're scared to get shot? I'll go in without a vest. Yeah.
I love that line right there. You're scared to get shot? I'll go in there without a vest.
I will, okay.
I wonder, I can't confirm whether it's true or not, but I wonder if that's the same lady who actually ran in there and got her kids. It's probably unlikely, but it's possible. You're not helping.
Man, that's fucking crazy, bro. They're just standing all outside, bro. Well, there's fucking kids in there still, man. I don't know what kind of fucking parent you are, but half of these fucking parents here, dude, they want to go in there without vests, without guns to get the fucking kid, bro.
They do. They do. They want to get in there. They want to save their children. Like I mentioned just the other day, it takes a village to raise a child. This is a statement that's been throughout history many times, many languages. It transcends borders. It's a thing. These parents all feel the same way. So it's no surprise that they're all banding together to say, all right, cops, are you going to do something? They're all airing their grievances out loud in front of those cops' faces saying, listen, I don't care. Do you have children in there? Do you have grandchildren in there? You scared to get shot? I'll run in there without a vest. That's what those parents are saying. Here's another one. A local witness parent desperately tried to get their children in the school, frustrated that law enforcement failed to swiftly act. You all ain't doing nothing about it. Why don't you try to do something? Because maybe 19 people could have still been alive today.
Yes, I was at the funeral home down the street, and that's where all the action was going on. Mm-hmm. There was actually one father trying to get past the DPS because he's seen his child get put on the bus, so he's trying to break through the law enforcement, and they were holding him back. And I mean, and a lot of the parents were mad at the law enforcement, you know, y'all are not doing nothing about it, you know, why don't y'all just storm in there to try to do something, because maybe 19 people could have still be alive today, you know. Yes.
They couldn't do anything. And when I say couldn't, I really mean didn't do anything. Now here's a story that should explain a little bit more about why this was a major failure all in all. Texas cops revealed that there were no armed guards on campus when gunman walked through unlocked door with his AR-15. First officers on scene retreated when he opened fire on them, then waited an hour for SWAT, which actually goes into contrast of what we heard before, like a school resource officer, which, yeah, here, contrary to early reports, there was no SRO there when he arrived, which, wow. So I don't know where that story came from that we reacted to just yesterday, which we stated, because that's what the stories were telling us, that there was a school resource officer on the scene who attempted to apprehend and neutralize a subject, but went down, and those survived was not able to take down Mr. Shooter. So I don't want to say his name. But apparently that's been wrong. Texas cops have revealed that there was no armed guard on campus when the gunman arrived on Tuesday, which allowed him to walk through unobstructed, unlocked door, and into the building where he slaughtered 21 people. At a press conference on Thursday afternoon, Victor Escalon, the regional director for the DPS, said the shooter walked through an unlocked door unobstructed and there was no guard readily available. It contradicts earlier reports that he fired at a school resource officer. He entered the school at 11:40, 12 minutes after crashing his truck outside the school and walking towards campus with his weapon. That is when police were alerted to the scene. At 11:44, the first cops entered the school. He shot at them and they retreated. It's unclear if he had already shot at the civilians or if he went on to attack them after those cops retreated. It then took an hour for specialized SWAT teams to arrive. At 1:06, the incident was declared over after he was killed. In the meantime, 150 cops were gathering outside. Some of them were filmed pinning parents to the floor, and some were even placed in handcuffs, according to witnesses. You have 150 officers. 150. Now, I know there's protocol for these types of things, and you want to take things as carefully as possible. Maybe it might become some sort of hostage situation. You want to get a negotiator or something. But you have 150 officers who are, instead of getting in the school, using their great numbers to save lives. They've all got guns. They've all got some sort of weapon. They've all got pepper spray against one kid. They know it's one kid. They won't go in there. They won't go in there. Really does make sense to you, right? I'll tell you something. And here's even a diagram. Really? Where did they get that? Number 6. I'm looking at number 6 right here. Apparently he said, it's time to die before killing 19 kids and 2 teachers. Did he? He walked in unobstructed initially. He was not confronted by anybody. 4 minutes later, law enforcement are coming in to solve this problem. When the first cops entered the building, he fired at them, injuring at least 2. The cops retreated, leaving him to carry on. They hear gunfire, they take rounds, get back and take cover. They don't make entry initially because of the gunfire they are receiving. They are calling for additional resources, TAC teams, body armor, precision rifles, negotiators. They are also evacuating students. There's a lot going on. It's unclear if there is meant to be a resource officer at the school that day. There are 4 in the district and there are 9 schools, including 4 elementary, a junior, and a high school. On Thursday, Escalon claimed that most of the shooting occurred early in the standoff and that the only shots fired once cops were there were to keep them at bay. Now, there are questions over why it took so long to catch the gunman and whether or not any of the kids could have been saved. There are a lot of possibilities. There were numerous officers in the classroom. Once we interview all those officers and find out what they were thinking, we'll have a better idea. A man who lost his 9-year-old daughter says cops were just standing there and waiting for protective shields to arrive at the scene before they went in. They said they rushed in and all that. We didn't see that. Many were just standing there. As we saw in the videos, as we're seeing from parent testimony, and as you can just feel from the mourning that is coming from this is a tragedy. A tragedy that could have been minimized. I'm not even saying it could have been avoided, at least from the police. Now, it could have been avoided as there's information suggesting that the FBI had this guy on a watch list, and there's information suggesting that there might be some sort of link between the Buffalo shooter and this guy. And I can also tell you that he probably cased it out and was like, they only have a few school resource officers, and they most likely are going to put them at, as it said, the 3 high schools and 1 at the junior high school, 1 at the junior high, or including 4 elementary schools, a junior high, and a high school. So 1 at the high school for sure, probably 1 at the junior high, and then 2 at the opposite elementary schools, leaving this one wide open. Of course, how would we know if he would know? But these are all a lot of different possibilities, as the guy actually said. But man, it all comes back to something, though. It all comes back to the culture, our current mental health standards, and what police are doing and are not doing. Like running in the scene when there's well over 100, actually purportedly about 150 police officers there, able to do something, armed, and not actually doing something to get in there. Of course, the first cops entered the building but retreated after they took fire, which is totally acceptable. But there's so many more that could get in there and do the thing. Do what they need to do. I'm not going to act like I've ever been on the line. I've never been on the line of fire, so I can't ever be the one from some sort of virtue, moral high ground to say, this is what you should have done. I could have done this better. But I can definitely sympathize with the parents that say, it's my child in there. I'm willing to run in and risk my life like this mother did for my child. Like Angelique Rose Gomez. Miss Gomez. I might be mispronouncing her name, Angeli, or it could be Angeli, but Miss Gomez, who rode on in there and got her children out. And I'm sure so many other parents would have been willing to do the same thing if those cops had not arrested the guy who did that prior. The same guy who lost his 10-year-old daughter. Their dad says it's so sad. This is getting more and more insane every time more info comes out. And he also says to serve and protect who? It's a valid question to ask. It's a very valid question to ask. We're going to move on past the actual new information we have back to the political side of this, because unfortunately, this is a political firestorm. Before we do that, I want to give a big thank you to our current Hall of Heroes members, including our brand new inductee, Alicia, who sent $26 yesterday evening. So big thank you to her for supporting the channel, supporting our stream, supporting everything we're doing. And last but not least, before we move on and talk about some of this insanity that's kind of spawned all around this, I do want to let y'all know that after this show, we will be doing some traveling this summer. So my shows will look a little bit different. Now, if you want to stay on top of where I'm going, what I'm up to, and hear a lot more about my travels this summer, then I invite you to make sure you join my Locals community. I just dropped it in the chat. Once you join here on Locals, you can get a direct bird's eye view of what I'm up to. You can see my messages about what I'll be doing. I post videos here as well. I post my videos, I post my streams as well, as you can see here from yesterday. I also post just general social media posts, like someone posted guns hurt kids, but abortions only hurt your feelings. I never knew just how much these people don't understand. So it really goes to show you how insane this stuff is. Talked about Jack Posobiec, all this craziness and more. Make sure you join us over on Locals for your live updates. We will continue our shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that, because we're going to keep Crump Live going. But now, let's jump right back into it. I don't want to hold this off for too long. I saw something trending on Twitter a few hours ago, and I had to touch on it briefly. The words hashtag Abbott Cruz Massacre was trending today. Because without even waiting more than 3 days, without even waiting 72 hours, they're standing upon the graves of those children. Standing upon the graves. For political posturing, for expedience. Against Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, Ted Cruz, one of the senators from Texas. And I'm sure they probably touch on more. Yeah, and then they say, and they're Republicans. Because they want to toss blame as hard as they can. Now, when conservatives that I know on Twitter that I follow, friends of mine, that have been posting about this, have never at any point been like, oh, it's all those dang Democrats that run things down there. Which, I guess they can't say that, but they can say the culture. They can say all these different things. They can go after whoever they want. But they aren't. They didn't go after any of the Democrat leadership in Buffalo, New York, after the shooting that happened there. Buffalo. Was it Buffalo, New York, or was it a different Buffalo? I'm attributing a state to it, but I think it was in a different state. There's a lot of Buffaloes, but man, they weren't going after anything of that nature. No, they were going after the shooter. They were going after the culture. Meanwhile, these people are going after the politicians, and they're going after the guns. The same guns that law enforcement officers actually did use to neutralize the shooter, because a person unlawfully using a gun is the solution to somebody unlawfully using one. It's just the way it works. It's the great equalizer. You've got the skills, then you've got a weapon. It's beautiful. But unfortunately, this is what people are doing. Posting about getting money from the NRA and demanding that the NRA take their conference out of Texas. No, that's exactly why the conference should happen in Texas. To honor the memories of those that were lost. And give a solution to those that never want to deal with anything like it in their own lifetimes. So that you can protect your child. Because if you live in Texas and you go to that convention, you learn a thing or two about how to defend your right to keep and bear arms. You just might be able to hold on to that gun, and when some madman, when some madman tries to do something to you and your family, you can defend yourself. But no, it's all politics for them. Really weird how none of these good guys with guns could do anything for 40 minutes. It's a sad question. I really wonder why. But still, it's still a good thing that it happened, right? That those good guys with guns did eventually get in there. But it goes more to show that these people who, in my opinion, are oath violators, oath breakers, arresting parents for apparently impeding an investigation, are the true ones in the wrong. Now I should be done. We've all felt callous, intolerant, self-absorbed, weak, and incompetent. But Republican reps are all those things at the same time, all day, every day. It's who they are, and we deserve better. Vote them out. Hashtag Abbott Cruz Massacre. It doesn't even have anything to do with this situation. It's just hashtag Abbott Cruz Massacre. Are these real people? Strong-willed softy, fierce and socially aware, except when I'm not. Ridiculously protective and champion the underdog. It doesn't seem real. I don't know who this person is, but dang. And then, of course, there's your classic video. I'm not giving that video my attention. And then this. This will tie us into our final part of the day. This image right here is of Robert Francis O'Rourke, not Beto. He is not Hispanic, he's not Latino. So Beto O'Rourke, fake name, Robert O'Rourke, at that conference, saying shame on you to the governor, to the senator, and then to this gentleman right here, who we already know is the most based gentleman, the mayor of that city, who said, I can't say it with my own words. I'll pull the video back out. It was beautiful what the guy said. Let me see if I can peel it back out for you all real quick, just to really remind y'all.
Pass the mic
Let me turn it up.
to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this.
Next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
You can see some idiots in the background saying, let him talk, right? Why don't we let the parents save their children, right? Why don't we let the people have the rights that they were given when they were born, if they ever get born, but when they were given when they were born, to utilize to defend themselves and their family. But no, you come at the worst time possible to suddenly posture saying, you are doing nothing. That's like pointing at the parents, Robert, and saying they are doing nothing, because their parents are the ones that elected each and every person up here. They did. These are their voices, and they are hurting, just like the parents are. And they're talking about what can be done, and they're giving information about what they know at the time. And you're the one going up there saying you're doing nothing. Right? Here's an image that somebody photoshopped. Obviously, it's not like this is real, but I think it really represents to you the moral decay that we have in our political state in 2022. Will Robert Francis O'Rourke call to action over Ted Cruz lifting prayers of any day? The GOP are all cowards, hashtag Abbott Cruz massacre. This got 7,000 likes, and it doesn't even look like it got anywhere near ratioed, with only 157 quote tweets. 7,000 likes. They put Klan hoods over every last person up here, of which I bet some of them are actually minorities themselves. Like, hold on, I think it looks like this guy right here is actually black. But no, he's obviously a Klansman. Let's see here. He had a purple tie. Yep, that's him right there. You can see his hands. They put a Klan hood over him because it's not like any of these people are driven by facts or any sort of logic. No, no, no. This is all fallacy. This is disgusting. It's all about politics to them. It's not about the lives. It's not about the children. They can claim it is, but it's never going to be anywhere near that. And I think until we realize that, until we go after each and every one of these people that is pushing this narrative that we need to take the guns away, pushing the narrative that we need to have abortions up until birth and even after birth, if you're Ralph Northam, and pushing the narrative that if you believe that we should actually be doing something in our communities to defend children that isn't ban all the guns, then you're some sort of Klansman, then you're a racist or something? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to anybody. And I doubt it makes sense to any of you. Like I said, I wanted to make this a bit of a shorter show while I give you guys the quick, brief update of what was happening with all this mess in Texas and all the new information coming out. I think it's very telling that, you know, there was no school resource officer, so there was nobody in the building that had a gun that was able to defend. When the police finally arrived, 30 to 40 minutes later, they took fire and had to retreat. And then once they had a batch of cops with them, still did not get back in there. And eventually, some elite Border Patrol agent had to do what none of those cops were willing to do and run up in there without any backup. It remains to be seen if he even had a ballistic shield or even a ballistic vest. Took fire, but was still tough enough to walk himself out of the building even after dispatching the shooter. something that none of those cops were able to do. I'm not going to say willing to do, because I'm sure there's plenty of those cops in that community that are members of that community, might have even had children that go to that school, but were definitely, wanted to serve their community, but unfortunately want to follow the rules as well that is pushed on them by the police department. So I'm sure this town is going to be under heavy scrutiny coming very soon, and we're going to see some big changes. But until then, we're just going to have to wait. We're going to watch what comes out, and we're going to talk about it, because I think the best way to heal past this is to discuss it, be together as a country, and do our best to heal. But aside from all that, thank you guys so much for being tuned in to today's episode of Crump Live. The next time you guys see me, I will not be at home. I will be in a brand new, undisclosed location. So if you want to hear all the details about where we're headed next, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Or if you're on Rumble, subscribe. If you're on Gitter, follow me. Anywhere and everywhere you see me, you could follow me. I do need to warn you guys, though, that in our upcoming streams, I will not be able to stream to Gitter. So if you want to continue watching me through these next few shows, make sure you subscribe to me over on Rumble. If I find a solution that will allow me to stream on Gitter, then ignore me. But if you don't see me next Tuesday, make sure you follow me and subscribe over on Rumble, just in case, as there should be anything fine with that. So to my people on Gitter, Henry Williams, Happy Camper, make sure you follow us over on Rumble. But thank you guys so much for being tuned in. And aside from all that, I'll catch you next time, free thinkers. Don't forget to spread the virus of intelligence. Have a good night.